So how are we supposed to get what we want if we don't even say it out loud to say like this is how I want to live and this is the amount of money I want to save? And don't get me wrong, you have to work for it also, but manifesting what that looks like every day and working towards those, you call them dreams, but they're really goals. Like you will be on that jet with your family. Welcome to episode 2 of Health, Wealth, and Real Estate. The first actual live episode with a live interview, which is really exciting. So today we have Dana Cadena, who I've known for a very long time, who's super awesome. She is a public speaker and a business coach, an investor, a wife, and a mom of 2 little ones. So people, I'm sure on here want to know how you hold it all together with all the different hats that you wear. And as well as living a life that is extremely passionate for what you do and creating financial freedom, because that's what this thing's all about.
Nice. I'm so excited. Thank you, Marissa, for having me on today. And we're just ready to roll. Let's do this. I'm psyched.
Awesome. So you told me a story a while back about your big why. And for people who don't know what their big why is, or something along those lines, it's living a life that you're passionate about and that true reason why you do what you do every day. So can you tell us that story? Because I just thought it was so phenomenal, and it made me dig a little bit deeper as well. So I'd love for you to share that story.
Sure. Wow. Yeah. Thank you. It's tough to figure out what is the underlying factor that's going to get you out of bed when you really don't feel like getting out of bed, right? So it's bigger than we want to support our families, or it has to be something that hits us to the very core, right? So I have permission to tell you the story, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, absolutely.
So there was a guy, and he was really, really successful guy. His name is Kenneth Baring, and he's in the insurance industry. He was quite the overachiever in insurance. In fact, he grew up pretty poor, and really spun his strengths into insurance sales, and then made it scalable. And he had 4 stages of his life, and Ken essentially, his first stage, after he had theoretically made it, he had a stage called stuff, and he just had all kinds of stuff. He had the big house, he had fancy cars, his kids had fly clothes, he just had great stuff, and he was not happy. So the second phase of his life was called bigger stuff. He upgraded his home, he upgraded his cars, he even bought a boat. He just really invested in his mind's eye at that time to get just bigger stuff, and he still wasn't happy. In fact, he was crying himself to sleep at night.
You would think he had everything that people wanted,
Theoretically.
that you strive for.
Right. And my man was still not happy. So the third phase of his life was different stuff. Now he really kicked it up a notch. He bought a private plane, so he didn't have to fly commercial. He invested in a professional sports team. So he was a co-owner, so he could bring his kids on the field and have those experiences. Of course, those experiences, in his opinion, had to bring him a level of happiness. Ken, still not happy. So the last phase of his life, one of his friends invited him, another high net worth friend of his, invited him on a private plane in order to donate 40 wheelchairs specifically for kids during wartime. This was quite some time ago over in Kosovo region, where these poor kids were getting their limbs blown off. And it was really a tough time that
Wow.
he wanted to, his friend, Ken's friend, just invited Ken to just help him. He needed another body essentially on the plane in order to unload these 40 wheelchairs. And so they were in a big rush to get back to the US. They were literally, Ken was hovering over the last wheelchair in order to put this young boy who couldn't have been older than 8 or 9 years old, and this young boy wouldn't let go of Ken's arm. He physically, as Ken was putting this kid in the last wheelchair, they're trying to get out of there, and this kid in his native language just kept saying something to Ken, and through a translator and a lot of tears, they figured out this young kid was just looking up at Ken saying, no, 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 please don't go. Don't leave yet. I'm just striving to memorize your face so that many years from now, when I meet you in heaven, I can thank you one more time. And that,
It gives me the chills. It gave me the chills the first time you told me that story, and it gives me the chills again. It's amazing.
and that is when Ken felt true happiness in the form of fulfillment. And the fourth phase of Ken's life was fulfillment. It was literally having that young kid be so grateful, and Ken giving of his time, even in that event, to someone who could never repay him, who could just never pay him back. So fast forward now, if you look up the Kenneth Baring Foundation, they donate 40,000 wheelchairs and medical supplies to young kids who are socioeconomic stricken, who really need it. And he's doing great things. That he finally found the fulfillment was not the stuff, the bigger, the different stuff. It was actually giving the money away to people that could never repay him, that really made him feel significant. So what's our wheelchair, right? Or what's that thing that is bigger than the physical? That what is that thing that gives you the chills, that can bring you to a level of passion where it's that fire in your belly. I love how Mary Beth Olive always says it's that grit, it's that fire in your belly, right? So, and I think that's magic when you can define it, and you can put it in a statement to say, hey, this is a venture I can really get behind, or this is a purpose, this is a, who are you helping, what's greater than just yourself or what's around you.
Right. Wow. So well said. And it really makes you think. And you had mentioned Mary Beth, and a couple of weeks ago, she did an interview with Vanessa Pollock, and she explained how to find your passion and how to figure out what that big why is. And oftentimes it is a milestone in your life that you say, wow, this happened to me and this makes me want to change the world. And she worked through that process to say, like, what really makes you excited? What are you naturally good at? And also, like, what bothers you about the world? And that's what the story you just told, to say, like, wow, I really love this thing. And then this really bothers me that there's people out there in need that don't have. And it gives me much more fulfillment than an NFL team and doing all this cool stuff and private planes and big houses that are just big houses at the end of the day. So, like, what really makes you excited to drive forward?
Yeah.
So with that story, you were able to dig deeper and figure out what your big why is for your life, for your family, for your business. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Sure. So, pretty recently, actually, in December of 2019, I don't know if you remember, in our area, it was actually Jersey City specifically. There was a horrible shootout that happened in Jersey City, New Jersey, and 3 civilians were killed, as well as a standing police officer. And that night, I remember it was actually Tuesday night. The night that it happened, it turns out that there was a young kid, high school freshman, in the surrounding area, specifically in Bayonne, New Jersey, and he did a random post that was very harmful, and he posted about this horrible event and said something to the effect where, hey, you saw what happened in Jersey City with that shooting, watch. He posts, the same thing is going to happen tomorrow in my high school. So rightfully, they held him to the line, and he was punished. In fact, he ruined his life in that one post, and several people around him may have said, he was just trying to get attention. This knucklehead, this kid, he wasn't really serious. But you know what? That is horrific behavior, right? And it has to be honed in. And my thought goes to young people specifically need to understand that their choices have impact, and they make decisions, and those decisions have impact. And so my real gritty passion is to get in front of young people and absolutely share wealth building concepts. I mean, I don't know about you, Marissa, but no one really explained to me how stocks and a FICO score works in school. And I mean, we learned about rhombi and parallelograms and algebra. I have to say though, no one really ever explained what a municipal bond was, or investment.
They didn't teach you how to build wealth.
I mean, no one really showed me the cash flow quadrant until my early 20s, right? However, I also want to share though with young people, your choices and are so significant, and you can create a mission statement for your life at age 15 or sooner, right? So I envision being able to bring these lessons and school of thought to specifically socioeconomic stricken young people who may not have someone in their world that's pouring into them. And I think about that freshman at Bayonne High School to say, man, if we could just rewind time, like the butterfly effect, and if we were able to pour into someone like that 2 years earlier, a year earlier, a month earlier, a week earlier, did that have to be his reality?
Right.
He's ruined the rest of his life. They've labeled him as a terrorist. I mean, it's pretty much a wrap for this poor young kid. And I'm looking for the kids that probably have no hope, who are really challenged, and just to bring some love and light and direction, and hopefully inspiration to them. I'm looking for the kids that, God forbid, they're cutting themselves at night. They don't have to do that.
Right. And with social media, it's interesting that you said like he had posted this on social media, and if he said that, if you rewind time and that same situation happened 20 years ago, he would have said it to his buddy. His buddy maybe would have punched him and been like, dude, what's the matter with you? Nothing would have happened the next day. It was just a stupid thought or a threat or a cry for attention. But with social media, it grew so big so fast, and he literally ruined his life.
Yeah.
So social media and the tools that we have today could be such a positive if used properly, and such a negative if used the wrong way.
It's so true. I mean, listen, I'm 67 years old. I just have decent eye cream, right? So I remember the days before social media. I remember the days that we didn't have one click of a button and we're communicating with millions of people.
Right.
And now that we have this thing, just like it can expose us and expose the bad. Hopefully, it's also shedding light on the good stuff too, right? But no, you're right. In the wrong light, in the wrong hands, it can be pretty awful. So I think it goes back to our mindset. I think the mindset that we share with young people, and just like we are what we eat, we are what we think. I've always admired that about you, Marissa. You've been so lean for so long. You're so active. And listen, I don't run unless a wild dog is chasing me. I've so admired that about you. You're so consistent with that. So, and you're on your site. Let's shout out your site. I'm sorry, I'm so used to asking the questions.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Your health, wealth, and all of the content you put out is just so significant, because especially in these times, it's May 2nd of 2020 today, and there's a worldwide pandemic going on. So I feel like our health has never been more significant, and I think you do such an amazing job of being healthy and really tapping into that way of life as a lifestyle at a really high level.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And that's really what it's about. And we've talked a lot about your environment and how that really is everything. You sit in a room that inspires you and makes you feel like you want to grow and do better things. You become more creative, you become more clear-headed. But it's like, if your body is filled with junk, it's like walking into a room with a whole bunch of clutter. Like, how could you possibly think clearly and be able to achieve everything that you want to achieve if you haven't started with the most important thing, and that's yourself. I mean, and that's yourself before your kids even, because it's like on the plane you have to put the mask on you first. And if you're trying to put the mask on the kid first, like you're both going to die. So you have to know that. And I remember my great grandma, she lived to almost 107 years old. I mean, the lady was amazing. And she had 6 kids, and we had to count how many grandchildren and great grandchildren when she passed away, because no one knew the number. And we were like, I think it's 47. Oh no, you forgot little Johnny. Like, and we literally had to count. And she would always say that to me from when I was a teenager. And like, I loved to work from a young age, and I always wanted to do more and help more people and hustle a little harder. And she's like, always take care of yourself first. Make sure you always take care of yourself first. And there's someone out there that needs to hear that message, because it's so important that you could have the big house and the fancy cars and all the stuff, but if you're not healthy, you essentially have nothing.
It's so true. You have nowhere else to live besides this one body, right?
Yes.
And so when you talk about environment, our responsibility to remain healthy is number one. I also think there's something to be said about your mental health, also known as your mindset. Just like we are what we eat, we are what we think. And I've been enlightened, and I've done kind of like an audit of my circle to make sure it's a circle and never a cage, right? To really look at who is multiplying value, who's adding value, and then on the other side of it, who's maybe subtracting or dividing. What I see as good and doing good. So I definitely think we need to look at who's in our home, who's in our work world, who's in our circle of friends, and make sure that that not only are you in alignment, but that there's a mutual synergy of great stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Because you think about that energy, and you think about when we're all in a room with each other and high level thinking people, and you just get so excited. And I'm that person that as I get excited, my voice starts to get louder. And right now I could see myself, my hands start to go, and I'm like ready to move, and to have that environment, and it just propels you forward for everything else that you want to, achieve in your life.
Yeah, it matters. And then it impacts your habits too. I mean, I have I have the belief that we have these habits, and then the habits show up. I mean, the habits kick down your door,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've heard the quarantine 15, and the COVID-19 pound thing, and I'm striving not to be about those results. I'd like to have salad, lean results, right?
Well,
So
you want to think about that too. And it's like, if it's whatever your normal is, so if everyone in your world eats a certain way, or spends money a certain way, or wastes money a certain way, you're going to feel like that's your normal.
mhm.
But if you level up and you're like, wait a second, I want to get here, so I'm going to start hanging with these people. When they're hitting the gym at 7:30 in the morning, you're not eating bacon, right? Like, it makes you feel weird.
Yeah, and I think now we've pivoted to virtual. So there's
Right.
a million resources for us to go on the remote control of our worlds now on any smartphone and tap into a virtual yoga class, or a virtual workout class, or a virtual, I'll say, master class, right? So there's master classes now on investing,
Right.
and I definitely, when I look back at the little things, like the little thing in August of the year 2011, my husband and I had our first child, and I picked a weird number. It was like $108.24. Why? Well, I kept negotiating with myself, and I'm like, okay, if I choose to save a certain amount on a consistent basis, it needs to stand out to me and have significance. So one fast nugget, that's not a big deal, but something that I'm glad I did was to literally save $108.24, because my son's birthday is August 24, 8/24, right?
Okay.
So I've literally, one small thing, saved $108.24 every single month for about 108 months consecutively. Now it's not a ton of money. It's almost not even now 18,000 bucks. However, it's a something, and I feel like so many of us, and this theme keeps coming up this week. Mary Beth, I know you're on the call. I mean, we become the results of our reasons and our complications, and we use reasons and we use complications to justify not taking action.
Right.
Right? Like we justify our inaction by these reasons. And I think if you can do something so simple, I mean, what is that? 27 bucks a week or so? $108.24 every single month, though. In about 8 or 9 years, you're going to have close to probably 17,000, where logistically it's maybe about 12,000. But when you put that into a stock account and you bet on the long term, like you bet on Warren Buffett, okay? You bet on Apple. Apple's not evaporating, okay? You bet on Abbott Laboratories, that basically makes every medicine we use. When you bet on the long-term safe, and you habitually save whatever you can, I don't care if it's $11 a month. It has to be something that's auto slid into an account that you have no debit card access to.
Right.
And if you make that decision today, believe me, even this time next year, it'll probably have a comma in it. It'll be over $1,000 bucks. And one statistic that really speaks to me, that really breaks a part of my heart, is that most Americans wouldn't be able to weather a $1,000 emergency in their family today.
What was the percentage again?
Most, girl. I don't have the.
I'm like, what was it?
I have to Google it.
Most. I
But
yeah.
most, right?
Most.
So most of Americans. This is hashtag the Today Show. I am a Today Show nerd. I apologize in advance. But the reality is, if most I don't, even if it's 51%, let's just say on a whim, if most Americans can't weather a $1,000 emergency, right? There's a great opportunity for all of us to make more money, and for all of us to change our mindset around it, right? We do this in our real estate environment. Marissa, money doesn't grow on
trees.
Money is the root of all
evil.
And it is not.
It's
right?
So you're programmed that way, and we all know the things, and for some reason we've been hearing them. We didn't learn, how to invest in school, but we learned that stuff. As a kid, you hear those things, but not the things that are going to propel you forward to be able to create real wealth in passion and health, in life, and all the things that are so important. And I'm so glad we chose this time to talk about this and do this interview, because if nothing has, kind of came in, and I'm not even going to use the word that we're going through right now in our society, but it kind of came in and slapped us in the face and said, like, hey, who's in your life? How healthy are you? And how financially free are you? Are you an essential business? Can you still work right now? And if this goes on for another month, another year, another 6 months, how long is it before you can still, before you start not paying your mortgage or not being able to put food on your table? And how did that happen? And what if it happens again?
Talk about audit.
Yeah.
Right?
And it came in to say, like, hold on a second. And that's what I see as the silver lining for all of this. And I don't want to take it lightly that what's going on, and businesses are suffering really terribly. And everyone knows someone that has maybe passed away from this, or has gotten sick from it. And I don't want to take that lightly at all. However, there's such a big silver lining for our world in that it put so many different things in check for us that it's like, okay, what are the positive changes that if for some reason something like this happens again, we were here and now we're here this time. So we can weather this storm a little bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how if anyone wanted to tap into a resource that could greatly impact your mindset and how you think about money and winning and wealth. I'm going to do a shameless plug for Win Make Give, and the creator of that is Ben Kinney. And what he talks about on there is how you know we can't access everything we want and remain the same person we are today. We have to evolve in order to become the person that can access everything we dream of. And I was talking to a nutrition expert. Her name is Jessica Sable, and we were talking, and she reminded me and really shed light on the fact that I think a lot of adults have seriously stopped dreaming. I'm a dreamer. I'm the nerd that's like, I can picture taking my family on a vacation and getting on a G6 or G7 private jet. And as you enter the aircraft, you wipe your feet, right? And it says million air, like air on it. I don't know. It's just weird stuff. Like it's just a
Yeah.
dream. It's a dream. And I think a lot of adults have literally just stopped dreaming and stopped envisioning what they really may want or what they may want to do for other people. Or and I think that's sad that a lot of people don't dream anymore. I have the 411 tool. I'd love to share it maybe on your page or on our page,
Oh,
the
absolutely.
what you do in 4 weeks, in 1 month, in 1 year. uh we're revamping ours right now because times are ever changing. However, you know, Ben Kinney also sheds light on the fact that when this season is over, in terms of this horrid virus, when this season is over, what is it going to be the start of for you?
Right.
What can it be the start of? Like, is it the start of a better habit? Is it the start of, I don't know, I have friends on Duolingo learning another language now. I'm like, that's smart. Is it the start of saving a certain fixed amount of money every week? What is it? It has to be the start of something awesome, though, right? Because what else are we gonna do?
I love that. And I follow too Gabby Bernstein. Are you familiar with her at all?
Not yet.
And you talk about dreaming and you see yourself like getting on that jet and like we're going and this is life because this is what we do and you envision it and she is big on manifesting to make things happen. And you need to, in order to have anything, like oftentimes we trick the universe by not being clear in what we want. And that's with all, so how are we supposed to get what we want if we don't even say it out loud to say like this is how I want to live and this is the amount of money I want to save. And once you have that clear path you can manifest exactly what you're looking for. And once you're open to it, then it, don't get me wrong, you have to work for it also, but manifesting what that looks like every day and working towards those, you call them dreams, but they're really goals. Like you will be on that jet with your family.
Listen, that's the vision, right? And I just want to mention that money is good for the good it can do,
Yes.
right? So it's never just the money itself. I could slide $100,000 into your, I could Venmo you, and if you can't touch the money or do anything with it, it's irrelevant. So it's obviously what we do with the money. I do want to say there's so many models out there. I mean, you see these right? There's so many models, tools, books, systems that there's no chance we have to recreate any of these wheels. And I'll say one of the most fulfilling roles has been working with someone in sales for me that's used to earning 40,000 a year, about 3,700 a month, and working with that person to get them to 140 and 160,000 right, in a year versus 40,000 in a year. It's just, it helps when you have an abundance of money. It just helps you access different things to help more people, whether that's in or outside your family or beyond. And I'm just crazy passionate about it because we only have this one life, right? I mean, again, it's hashtag what else are you gonna do?
Right, exactly. And being around that circle, and I see Mary Beth just put in the comments, I'm going too. So we're all going on the jet with Dana. So let's manifest that.
Please, let's go. You know, let's race them. I
I
mean,
love
you know
it.
what it is if you really think about the experience with TSA, it's just not fun. Right? Like if you think of flying commercial, they've taken a lot of the fun out of flying. You know what
Right.
I mean? And I think that's where that came from years ago. It was like, this isn't fun anymore. Like, walking through the thing and it's, like Jay-Z says that the Clearport is just so much more graceful. And listen, I'm the first to graduate from a 4-year university in my household. I'm the first homeowner and certainly investor in my household. Like I just want to say I didn't grow up with abundant financial resources, to state the least. All right. I worked since I'm 11 years old, and I understood at age 12 what it was to help pay a light bill. Now, I don't necessarily want my kids to do that. However, I will say that the conversations and the professional environment that you, myself, a lot of people, Mary Beth, that we respect and love, we're in an environment that elevates the conversations that we have with young people, and we're in an environment that elevates those conversations where my son has a lemonade stand and it's called the Lemon Tree, and we do his profit and loss, and we talk about how his money is earning interest. And on Black Friday every year we go to the bank to make his deposit when everyone else is spending their money, and there's no judgment around spending the money. There's no judgment around that. But when everyone else is doing that, we're looking at his financial trajectory, right? I mean, listen, he's 8 years old. He's not day trading yet. um
Yet.
However, he knows what that is, and he knows what equity is, right? So I just think we have such a great opportunity to elevate the conversation with young people.
Absolutely. And by having the ability to elevate the conversation with young people, we have to not only talk about it, but walk that walk as well.
Hmm.
And that's something that has really come out with us in recent years of how many homes can you possibly show in a day? How many houses can you possibly list? And that's just my, real estate world. So bringing that into a team. So, okay, now there's 3 of us out showing houses today, or 3 of us out listing properties, but the real freedom, so to speak, is in that residual income. It's in the profit share. It's in the rental properties. It's in the long term wealth building, and that's one of our goals, to continue to invest and renovate properties and make them better and make communities better. And that's really how we look at it, rather than just like, okay, another door, another dollar. It's like, wow, every house that we resold, like that family is still in there. And you drive by and they're mowing the lawn and they're loving their house, and that created an environment for them, for their family, for stability. So creating the stability for ourselves is really creating stability for others, and vice versa. So it's not like we're all working together to make this thing happen. So what are you doing to create that residual income and financial freedom for your family?
Right. So certainly, I'm in complete alignment with everything you're saying. The goal is to make sure that the money coming in from work you've done in the past is covering all of your active expenses and bills. Let's just put that there, right? So your, however you want to call it, your residual income, or the income from your investments, or your passive income, the money that you've already earned in the past is literally covering 100% of your bills and savings targets or goals. So I mean, I've had the great honor of welcoming a lot of people into real estate, and that's been extremely fulfilling for me. We're in an environment where the ownership of the entire organization has signed up to literally share half the profits with us every month when we've influenced someone who's won and earned money inside of that profitable month. So we have this thing called profit share that's pretty cool. We have then an opportunity to take that profit share and spin it into an asset, right? So imagine you have an extra 2, 3 thousand bucks coming in every month. You're probably going to want to buy some real estate, and you're probably going to want to have a tenant in that property that's paying off the debt or mortgage on that property, and you're earning equity, and you're seeing a little cash flow. And we do that. We enjoy also reinvesting our dividends. Like I said, that $108.24 every month, it goes, that's stocks, and the dividends are automatically reinvested. You can be lured to have the dividends go into your checking account, or you could just reinvest it and go for the long haul. There's also pouring into, you could buy a franchise. That's my next target, to go ahead and activate a real estate franchise. Mary Beth and I have had that in our hearts for a while, and we've strategically prepared and are doing that this year. We're just looking for agent, for people that want to change their lives in real estate and earn a heavy six figures and just laugh the whole way. Because if it's not fun, frankly, we don't do it.
It's not worth it. Yep,
I
absolutely.
mean, we work in our life's passion. I think that's why we take great pride in the work that we create, because it's affecting people. Listen, home has never been more relevant than it is today. Let's just all agree, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and if you have nieces or nephews or kids or multiple kids, you need to have multiple investment properties. I want to get everyone home in time for dinner. So I'll get off my soapbox. But the reality is there's several vehicles. There's municipal bonds. I mean, I feel like this could be a masterclass within itself. I would love for the room, though, theoretically, for our ecosystem to hear that there has to be some fire in the belly, healthy mindset, some action, and it has to be significant to you, and you have to make a commitment. Again, I love all of your fitness mantras, Marissa. Like, you're so committed. I could want to get into a certain shape, right? Or I can make a commitment. Those two things look really different. And then I would invite, just to put a bow on it, I would invite everyone to just write down your dreams. Like, if literally falling on your face was impossible, or failing was impossible, what would you really do?
Right.
What would you really do? Where would you go? Who are you including in that? Well, what does that look like? Because we can all get it, and I think once you can spend your time the way that you really want to spend, and hopefully invest your time, uh, it's just a matter of making sure your environment's supporting your goals.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And it just talks about, like, just a quick little recap of finding your passion, figuring that out, making sure that your environment within yourself and your surroundings, your circle, your friends, your family, the people that are in your household, on your, exercise workouts online, in your community, in your Zoom meetings, all of those things are in line with, where you're heading, and where you want to go, rather than maybe where you've been or what's comfortable for you. Because getting outside of your comfort zone is where you grow and become the greatest version of yourself. So that's it's also such exciting things to look forward to. And we've all had those stories where, wow, we worked to get this, and now we have this rental property, and we worked to get this, and now we have this. And just a quick story to kind of conclude, the house that I'm sitting in right now in New Jersey. And I mean, our goal is to go back and forth to, and I say goal, but we're doing it. I go back and forth from the Jersey Shore to Naples, Florida. I love the warmth. I love that environment. And when we were buying the very house that I'm sitting in right now, we had two properties that my husband and I were flipping at the time. And we put an offer in on this one, and it was a short sale. It was ugly. It needed a total renovation. It was horrible. And I'm like, oh, the bank's going to take forever. Well, it got approved in 30 days. Have you ever gotten a short sale approved in 30 days? Because until my own, it never, ever happened.
You should have played the lottery that day, P.S.
Oh my gosh. And I'm like, and my husband loved this house. He loved the yard. He loved the property. Like he loved everything about it. And I just thought that I would be able to strategically line everything up. Oh, we'll sell this, we'll buy this, we'll be good. And they were like, yep, you have 35 days to close. And I was like, oh my gosh, like how embarrassing. We don't have the money. Like, there's no way we're going to be able to do this. We're going to get sued for our deposit. Like, I can't even believe that this happened to me, like being in the business. And I hung up with him and I'm like, he's all disappointed. Wow, what are we going to do? Maybe we shouldn't have started renovating this one so quick. And I'm like, wait, my profit share account. I had never touched it from when I joined Keller Williams. So I had this money sitting in an account. When I tell you, it was the exact amount of money, including closing costs, that we needed to close on this house, that I forgot about. I forgot. I totally forgot that I even had the money. And for me, like, I want to help as many people get that, because for us, it was our home. You know, that may turn into a rental property down the road, who knows? But it was that first step of creating wealth and building wealth. And I was like, wow. And he jokes with me still, like, you have any money that you forgot about? I'm like, no, that's gone. But, you know, taking that next step to seeing what that could do.
And that's amazing, because it's no mistake that it was the exact amount of money required to finish purchasing that house, which I love. The shadow boxes, the eggplant, your moldings have moldings. I mean, it's amazing.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank
Congratulations to you and Darren. You've really built something, significant. And I think that you've definitely personified how work, action, preparation, you can really access some amazing stuff. And how you go from New Jersey to Florida constantly with your real estate businesses is delicious and masterful. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I so appreciate your time today. I think this is really wonderful. Is there anything else that you want to share or you think people should know to conclude our first live episode of Health, Wealth, and Real Estate?
Oh my gosh, what an amazing roster of people we have joining us. I'm just going to say someone might need to hear this. Just don't, and I needed to hear this in the beginning of the year. Don't be afraid to quit something, like a bad habit or a relationship or something. Don't be afraid to quit something to get what you want. Be afraid of staying stuck wherever you are for the rest of your life. I'm going to make that statement.
I love that. In conclusion.
Love it.
Well, thank you guys all so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Dana, you're a rock star. Keep on dreaming, and I will see you on the runway, girl.
Love it. Thank you. Thanks a million.
You got it. Bye, guys. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for listening and subscribing. We love reviews, comments, and your suggestions for content. Tell us what you would like to know more about, so together we can make health, wealth, and real estate a great resource as we continue on our journey to living the best lives possible. Thanks again, and make it a great day.